Yo, what's up? It's D Stins, baby. Welcome to the Seeding Greatness podcast, where we are all about helping you share the gift of you. And the way that we do that is by bringing in brilliant, amazing people like we have here today and helping them to specifically share their story and to share their genius. Their story, what they've been through. We can learn so much from people's journeys than we can just from their information. And then their genius, their intelligent divine design, what makes them them, what is unique, their fingerprint on the world. We want to be able to extract that and share that with the world, because that is what we believe we are all here to give. And so today I have my special guest, Jen Aks, with me, AKS. I always have to tell myself, not ASK, AKS. She's an author, a speaker, a future TEDx, I was trying to find something to say like viral, like your thing's going to pop. Your TEDx talk is going to do well. Like I said it here first.
Okay.
Like it's going to be one of those ones that people are just talking about. Have you watched it? I can't spoil it. So we cannot tell them what's to come yet, but we can definitely let them know it's going to be about your body of wisdom, which is around the power of gesture and how we can really come back home to our bodies, develop a deeper connection with ourselves, to be more comfortable in our body, more confident in ourselves, and to be able to communicate with the world around us. And so I got the opportunity to spend a day with you yesterday and to just really, hear your story, unpack your genius. And one of the things that stood out to me from yesterday was your level of comfort in your own skin. And so I guess that's a great place to start. I know so many people who don't feel comfortable in their own skin. They look in the mirror, they don't like what they see. They feel awkward in social settings. They, don't like how they look in their clothing and apparel. They, they're not comfortable with their bodies. And so curious for you, how have you grown in being more comfortable in your own skin?
That is such a great question and so fascinating that that's the question. Because for so long, I wasn't, right? Like when I was younger, I was, but I was, awkwardly running around as a teenager, insecure about certain aspects of myself. I have to say, the thing that really grounded me into my body was dance. I was always dancing. Yeah. And then I did professional dance later in life, but dance really grounded me. Mm-hmm. And it's a very vulnerable thing to do, especially when you're performing and you're among community and you're on stage. You got change in the back. You got to take off all your clothes. You know what I mean? It's like you're not only vulnerable on stage, you're like vulnerable behind stage. Backstage and with people. So you had to get comfortable with your body. So the performance aspect of it.
What was vulnerable about it?
About which part?
Dance, being backstage, being like, what was vulnerable about it? I don't want to assume I know.
Yeah. No, I'm glad you asked. It's the communication. Like it's as a performer, you're on stage and you are telling a story with your body. You're not using your words, you're using your body. So you have to express fully. Your heart center needs to open up. You need to expand. And that's vulnerable as a young person and then teenager, adult, right? It's not. And then you have all these people watching you in this vulnerable state where you're just exposing yourself in that way. So that's the onstage piece. And you're hoping you're doing a good job, right? And then backstage, you're changing. You got to strip down. You got to change quick. It's just like, and
that's true.
And so that's like the, obvious vulnerability. But the vulnerability of really using your body as the tool, as the catalyst, relying on that. To be your source of communication. You're hoping that you're communicating effectively. And that is a scary thing to rely on when it's not the typical we're speaking.
Were you like, what style of dance did you do?
I did everything.
Yeah.
I studied all of it, but my favorite was hip hop.
Okay. Okay.
Jazz.
Can you still dance?
I love to dance. I go to clubs and I do my thing. I wear my hat. I go in.
Okay.
But I'm not performing anymore. But I love to dance. And you tell me to go, I'm ready anytime.
Yeah. Okay. So you started as early as how young?
Well, I mean, I was thinking about it yesterday. Like I was dancing in the living room in front of my mom, all her friends at 3, 4, 5 years old. But I started taking ballet, doing that thing when I was like 7, 8, 9, did all that. Never was a ballerina. That pink tutu, I needed to I needed to be me. I felt like the pink was holding me back, even though now I really like pink.
And so what your parents did what? What did your parents do for a living?
My dad was a professor.
Oh, really? Okay.
And also an author.
Oh, nice.
And my mother was a nurse.
Oh, okay.
And then she was the manager of something called Kelly Services, which was a temp agency. She placed people.
Okay, yeah.
And then she raised 3 kids brilliantly.
Nice. And are you the oldest?
I am the youngest.
Youngest
of
the
2.
baby.
Yes, my brothers. I have 2 older
that
brothers.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Toughen you up.
Exactly.
Because you're tough. Okay, so you're in dance. You're starting to learn how to be comfortable with the vulnerability of your body. Yeah. And man, that's a big part. I was imagining myself. There's a couple of times where I've done all day events or multiple day events, and I've got multiple changes of outfits.
Right.
And I always go to the private dressing room.
Yeah.
And it's to fully just dress where everyone see. You got to feel comfortable with yourself to not be embarrassed or cover up and shame of don't look at my body. So
or you're not comfortable and it stays in you.
Right.
Because you don't have to be anything, right? You're back there. You just don't have a choice. No one's giving you a private room to go change into when you're part of a company. You're just out there and you've got a deal. And I think that it helps people a lot. I don't know that it helps everybody. It might stick with someone and make them feel, ashamed, but it does build that freedom in your body.
So you're doing dance. Okay. Now walk us through the evolution of your own relationship with your body. So you're pretty much naturally comfortable because of your upbringing in dance, and then walk us through some more.
Yeah. So I really, if dance was a tangible thing, I would just hug it for the rest of my life because it really saved me. Because there were other parts of me that I wasn't so connected to, like my mind. And I struggled in school a lot. So it was really tough for me. But dance grounded me, and it gave me confidence. It gave me something to hold on to and feel good about. It kept me in my body. So I'm so grateful for dance. And I really think it's just a beautiful tool for people. So I'm always encouraging people to explore, especially if they have certain things that they're working through, trouble, obstacles that they're moving through, discomfort. So my relationship to dance just evolved. I went to NYU. I went to Dean Junior College. Then I transferred to NYU. And then I graduated with a dance major, education minor. My mother said, you got to get the education because if you break a leg, got to have something to fall back on.
That's true.
And I'm so grateful because I've been a teacher for, over 30 years.
Really?
Yeah. Why you look surprised?
I don't look surprised. I'm just I'm sure people. I didn't think that when I first met you.
That I was a teacher?
No, I was just I could see the dance thing.
Right.
And then I'm you got to be a speaker or an author. You just look like a brand.
Oh.
Yeah.
Let's go. Oh my God.
Totally.
So good. Yeah, no, the teaching is the root of so much of what I've done.
Okay.
I've been a teacher forever. I started in college, student teaching.
Okay.
Right? Then I was like, oh, this is great. I'm empowering these children.
What were you
teaching?
It was amazing. Math?
No, I was teaching dance.
Okay.
Math?
Okay.
No.
Oh, yeah.
No. Math, English, no.
Science?
I can teach. No.
History.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
I was teaching dance. I was teaching movement. And then I became a personal trainer. So I was dancing, right? I got my certification.
Physical trainer?
Physical trainer.
Okay.
Like training men like you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did that for years.
Like classes?
Classes, weightlifting. I did tons of classes.
You were the instructor.
I was an instructor, but I was also a personal trainer.
Yeah.
So I worked with people individually.
Yeah.
So I did both. I did that for a while.
Okay.
And the teaching really helped me go into management.
Okay.
I left like the dance world for a while because I really wanted to make money.
Okay. You weren't making a lot of money?
No. I was like a starving artist in New York City.
Oh, gotcha. Same.
So I was like, no, this is not, I just need to make some money.
Yeah.
So I went into sales.
Okay.
And because I'm like very passionate, when I love something, it's like I can sell anything when I love it. I have to really authentically love it. I can't be like selling cars or things like that, but I can sell what I love.
Right.
And I actually loved this job. I sold printing materials, but I loved it because it was visuals, like artistic. Anyhow, the point is I built out a whole sales team and I worked there for about 8 years. I was managing a group of, 15 adults, people that were older than me, even some younger, some older. And I loved it. I loved teaching. I loved empowering people to be leaders and to be successful in their life. And because, coming back to the dance, I was comfortable in my body and always have been for the most part, I helped people through that lens, really helping them feel their strength. And so in corporate America, it translated as well, just sort of that power in the body. Because when you have that, I'm not saying you could do anything, but I'm saying you can do a lot. You can do a lot.
So there's so many places we can take this because it's like
because the teaching isn't over, but let's go.
Well, there's a lot of people listening to this, right? And I've been blessed to primarily virtually, but speak every continent on the planet, and it's like you never know who's watching. Right. But the majority of people who watch, they're entrepreneurs or they're, professionals in the workplace that have side hustles. Right. So they're people of personal and professional growth. And it's important for them to always be like, moving forward. If it's not green and growing, it's ripe and rotting. Right. So they're always looking like, okay, where do I start? Right. Like, if you have this brilliance, this genius of helping people to be comfortable in their body, confident in themselves so they can communicate with the world around them. And it's informed from this life experience of dance, of working in corporate, of working with students and helping them to learn. We didn't even get into the kinesthetic stuff. We didn't even get there.
That's what I'm saying.
So and I want to get into that.
Yeah.
But where do people start? Like if somebody's like, you know what, I know my body's important. Where do I start?
A simple practice, which I've curated now in this later chapter of my life, the power of gesture, is a really accessible way to start to access the body's wisdom. It's a body set practice where we start with closing our eyes and placing your hand, one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly, and relaxing your eyes. And starting to just notice, when we close our eyes, we can go in and we lose the distraction in front of us. And it's as simple as paying attention to your breath, feeling your hands on your body, just noticing the simple sensations of what's happening, the sounds around you, the energy around you. So it starts with that noticing, right? A lot of people want to jump to the end. Well, what do I do? How do I put this into action so I can be successful here, be successful there? It takes time to get to know who you are, to get to know your body in this way, to understand the brilliance inside of yourself so that it can really inform you and teach you and take you where you need to go. It's a journey. So it sounds so simple, but it's so profound. And that's where we start. So it's that noticing, it's that listening, it's just being with your body in that way. Then the next step would be to really start imagining, like we did yesterday, right? That imagining and visualizing yourself in different scenarios in your life where you feel things, feel excited and powerful, or feel sad and debilitated or doubtful, right? We all experience all these emotions in different ways at different times. So we can place ourselves there with our mind, imagining. Then we go into feeling what that is for us. And then back to that noticing, okay, how does that self-doubt feel? How does that power feel? So taking notice. So to your point, to your question, we begin with the very simple body set. And then we move into all of that visualization, noticing, and then we can move into the power of gesture, which is the practice that I've created in the last several years, where we use our hands. You want me to go into that just a little bit?
I do, but where did it I do. Where did it come from? Like understand everything you said, but like just so they have context, where did the power of gesture come from?
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to rewind for a second back to what I said earlier about dance.
Okay.
Okay. And as a performer, communicating with my body, no words. Also someone who really likes to club.
I don't club anymore.
I know.
I got 4 kids.
Oh, we're
going
to doesn't matter. 4 kids, 10 kids.
I know.
Whether you're 50, 60, doesn't matter. I'm going to be clubbing.
Maybe I need to go clubbing with you. I need to rethink my club experience, because all my club experience was bad, right? Like it was like either like early on, it was like I nobody wanted to dance with me. I couldn't dance. Then it was like now I was the jock and the athlete. Everybody wanted me, and I was just like, I just sat in the back and just scouted who I wanted to try to take home. And it was just all filled with drugs and trying to chase women. And it was like not a healthy scene.
Okay.
And so like, I don't know as an adult if I've ever like had a healthy club experience where it was, we did you'll laugh at this. So we when I first got into like the Christian world and I got saved, I really knew the power of music and its effect on people. And I was really passionate about getting people in alternative spaces where they weren't feeding their minds, things that, promote womanizing and, violence and all these things that a lot of this like music that I love the instrumentals to, but I don't necessarily agree with the lyrics anymore. And so we had like this like, clean and or Christian like music selection. And we had this club called the Firelight Lounge.
Let's go.
I know. And so there was some dancing there, but it was all like, like the Cupid Shuffle and like, like all those dances and the cha-cha slide and stuff. That's like the group. God. So that's probably the healthiest version that I got of actually dancing. So apparently it's not all about just picking up the opposite sex.
It's not. Yeah. It's interesting you say that because like I've always worn hats. I've always had something on my head for the most part. And the hats really allowed me to like stay internal. And so the club scene was not about, like my friends always say, when we go clubbing with Jen, like she's like in her own thing.
Gotcha.
We got to bring another friend because she.
What are you doing?
She just checks out. What?
What are you doing at the club? What do you do? Like
I get into my own. My hats allow me to.
Are you that person at the club that's like getting it? Are you like doing the like?
What do you mean getting it?
There's always like 1 or maybe 3 if you're at a big club, but there's always one person that can like break dance.
Oh no, I'm not break dancing on the floor.
Oh no.
No.
You look like you're getting it.
Excuse me with my cough.
You're fine. You're good.
Okay.
You're good. Yeah.
So it's like serious. So no, I'd go into like my own like groove, I'm like underneath. I'm not looking at anybody. So my point is I'm not picking anybody up.
Oh yeah.
So most of the time.
We're so on a tandem right now. Okay, so there's a health. It's my fault because I had to tell the story.
Okay, we're back. I'm with
all right,
you.
There's a healthy way to club.
Yeah. I know where we're going.
You know where we're going.
I know exactly where we're going.
Come on.
Okay.
Bring us back.
So I'm in the club.
Yeah.
I got the thing, but many times, I would look up. We're finding out where the power gesture came from.
Yes.
That's what we're going.
Nice. Great job.
And I would look up and I would connect with someone in front of me and we would just, dance together. And it was as if we were having a full conversation with no words, right? there were no words. And I knew from my past that the body was powerful. And I knew the body could communicate. And I knew that it was a whole language, a universal language, really, because we all share it. But I had no idea what this was. And I did a lot of research, and I found the work of Howard Gardner and Daniel Goleman.
Okay.
And these two men, Howard Gardner was a Harvard professor and wrote many, many books about the multiple forms of intelligence.
Okay.
And Daniel Goleman specializes in emotional intelligence.
Okay.
Okay. So the combination of these men and their research empowered me like you can't believe, because what I gravitated to, we can get into all the different types of intelligence if you want to, but the thing that I gravitated to was kinesthetic intelligence and emotional intelligence.
Okay, why?
Because it's innate. It's what we all have. It's what I experienced as a child.
I get emotional intelligence, sort of, and I know people have like different definitions around it. But how would you describe kinesthetic?
Kinesthetic intelligence is the intelligence of the body, the physical body, the body helping us move through.
How can the body be intelligent when it doesn't have a brain?
Right? Your body helped you be successful as an athlete.
I mean, in my paradigm, like I told my body what to do.
Yeah, and it did it because it's intelligent.
Because it's submissive. No, here's
look at it like that.
So if you really want to get into this, like for me, this is a journey I've been on.
Okay. Yeah.
Like now, I'm not defending that stance because I've grown past that.
Yeah.
But that's where I was to be a successful athlete, and a lot of people do that. Like they beat their body into submission.
Right.
They make it do. It's all willpower. It's straight off of grit and grind and who stays in the gym the latest and who does the most reps and who outworks the other person. It's all like heavy resilience and mindset. Right.
Right.
Well, after I got out of sports, it's like, you know, I wasn't competing for a championship, and I didn't want to I had no motivation to put myself through brutal pain like that.
Right.
But that's the only way I knew how to stay in physical shape was to be fighting for a championship and beating my body into submission. I did not know how to just be healthy for healthy's sake. I did not know how to just, move my body because it was healthy to move my body.
Yeah.
I had to be competing for something. And so this idea around the body being something that we listen to was super foreign to me.
Right.
And so the way that I grew in it was I started learning about intuitive eating.
Yeah.
And that was really helpful to learn about my relationship with food and how I'm listening to and so I started to lean in and grow and say, okay, I can feel a nudge and be like, you know what? I think my body wants to eat this.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But still this what you're saying around it has an intelligence. I don't know if I'm I believe it.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm further than the average citizen for sure. I feel like most people, they shake their head, be like, yeah, sure. But they, similar to me, can't really tell you how the body is intelligent. Right?
Right.
Yeah.
And so it varies, right? Everyone has it to different degrees. We can strengthen our kinesthetic intelligence. Surgeons have kinesthetic intelligence. They have this ability to go in and do surgery, right? And be successful and save lives. Musicians play instruments, their hands, their bodies, right? There's a whole kinesthetic and emotional connection with that, with all of it, really. This is why I love those two intelligences, because they're tied together. Now, Howard Gardner and Daniel Goleman don't link these two together. I link them to create the power of gesture, which is what we're going to get to in a second.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I'm going to further explain kinesthetic and emotional, how they work together, and maybe it will also help deepen the understanding about kinesthetic intelligence. And then the emotional intelligence, right, which you know and people know, but it's that ability to understand and manage your own emotions and have the awareness of others.
Okay.
Now, we have this innately, but we all, and both forms, it's just about to what degree.
Yeah.
And how tuned in are we?
Yeah.
But we can strengthen both. With IQ, it taps out your logical intelligence, mathematical intelligence, taps out in your 20s. You're cooked. kind of thing. But kinesthetic and emotional, you can develop, especially emotional, for the rest of your life, right?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, you can continue. So anyhow, so it all made sense to me now that there I am in the club doing my thing with my body, communicating without words, energy, emotion happening between me and somebody else without saying a word. This is, and we're having a conversation.
Right.
Not even a question.
Yeah.
This is the beauty of these two forms of intelligence coming together.
Gotcha.
So then I go in, I do that whole leadership, I do the whole sales manager thing for a long time. We already talked about that. What happened next for me was incredible. So I lived in New York City for over 30 years. And in my late 20s, or maybe I was I was my early 30s.
Okay. By the way, you look like you're 30 now.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
I'm 54.
Do you get that a lot?
I'm proud to say.
Do you get that a lot?
I do.
You do, yeah.
And I'm so grateful.
Why? What do you do? Is it what you eat? Is it
I don't know.
exercise?
I'm just like, what is 54? Like, isn't this 54? I just feel, I've got pain going down my leg right now, my sciatica. That's 54. I got back pain while I'm sitting here. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, so I find myself in a New York City public school auditorium watching about 40 children on stage. They're in a class, right? There's a couple teachers. And they're learning curriculum with their body. Like literally. There's a musician there, and there are a couple teachers, and there's about 30, 40 children. And they are moving their body, and they are speaking curriculum, right?
What like math?
We actually did do science 1 year, because every year there's a theme. I worked there for almost 2 decades.
One.
Oh, right. Exactly. I know what you're talking about. So
I don't know why it's so funny to me. Sorry.
That one?
I don't know. I just made it up. I was just trying to picture how they're learning with their body. I'm like, I don't understand.
Okay. So
they did not have this in my public school, by the way.
Me either.
Okay.
Had they, I would have not struggled the way I did.
Okay.
Right? When I grew up, it was a linear, logical approach to learning. SAT scores, IQ, that's how you were measured, intelligence. And that just didn't, I thought I was dumb. I just felt like I was like, I don't fit into this mold. That's why this work became so appealing to me, because it's exactly what I needed when I was a child. So anyhow, how are they learning? Putting language to movement. So every year there's a theme with this group, right? The organization is called National Dance Institute. And basically every year there's a theme, whether it's Aretha Franklin, soul music, or geography, like rivers around the world, or, sometimes it's geography related, sometimes it's a person related. And so they would learn about people and places moving their bodies, whether it's like, soul music, whatever, Motown, and it's the movement and the legs and your whole body is involved, and there's words coming out. Sometimes you're singing, sometimes you're writing poetry, sometimes you're dancing, but it's this fully embodied experience that is wildly successful. This organization has been around for 50 years at this point. And so I was sitting there in the auditorium and I was just blown away. I was very emotional because I was like, I wish I learned this way. And then I just switched that. I let myself cry for like a second. And then I'm like, okay, now let's go do this. So I started teaching. I started creating curriculum. A good example is rivers. Right? Having them move their body like a river and speak about the culture and the people and the personalities. So their whole body is involved, and it allows a person to hold on to the information so much better.
Gotcha.
Kinesthetic and emotional, because you are emotionally invested and you are kinesthetically invested.
Gotcha.
So this blend was beautiful. Okay, did that. Still train a lot of the teachers in the organization, but I don't teach in the schools anymore. That was about 17 years. See, it all stacks up to 54. So that was about 17 years. And then the pandemic hits. Right? We're almost at, how did the power gesture come to be? This was like 20 minutes ago you asked the question. So pandemic hits, And I was left with like this burning desire still to connect people to their body's wisdom.
Yeah.
I did it in corporate America.
Yeah.
I did it in the classroom, and I had to continue. So I didn't know how I was going to do that, being that I wasn't live with people, and also we weren't using our full body. We're in this square. How am I going to do that? So I started to experiment and asked people to use their hands to embody their pain, their isolation, their whatever was coming up for them. And it went beyond COVID. Like people had nothing else to do. So they started telling me their entire life stories and all their survival stories is what I call them. Survival and resilience stories. And I met with hundreds of people and having them use their hands, and it was working. It was unbelievable. So then I did the research, then I trademarked the practice, the power of gesture, because the power of gesture absolutely connects you to your body wisdom. It unlocks so much the intelligence within. And what I love about it is that it's so accessible because you're just using your hands. But it's not just because you have to be willing to be vulnerable. But you don't have to get up. You can stay seated the whole time if you want to.
Yeah.
Some people I get to get up eventually, but so that's where.
So gesture is this way that we can start to grow in our ability to connect with our body's wisdom, for what you call body set. And the process that you were taking us through earlier was like connect, hands on, heart, hand on stomach, imagine ourselves in expansion and contraction, feel what that feels like, and then gesture comes in.
And gesture comes in, exactly.
Okay.
And what you just hit on is really important.
Okay.
That our emotional intelligence, right? It's a vocabulary of emotions that we all have. We all have everything. It's just, again, how often does it happen and to what degree, right? Our circumstances, our life circumstances. So what I have learned, though, is that when we are all in this high vibe emotion, happiness, strength in some way, like showing up powerfully, feeling decisive in our life, clear, confident. That's a high vibe. That is an expansive gesture. Right? We expand large or not even large. Some people, it's a little, then it gets bigger because everyone goes at their own time. I meet them where they're at. But it's still expansion.
Okay.
And then when we are feeling the doubt, the shame, the pain, whatever that limiting belief is or that experience that we've had, we start to shrink and contract. So universally we are, and my clients all taught me this, my clients really, by seeing, I've seen so many different, and they're all so beautiful, by the way, unique. Yet there is this underlying consistent message, which is that expansion and contraction.
Gotcha.
Very interesting and beautiful and so relatable. That's why in my community, when we come together, everyone is like, oh, I feel that. Of course we do, because we share this language.
Yeah. I love that. Okay. And then once, so we do this, we connect, we imagine, we feel, we gesture the movement.
Yes.
And how does that help? And what do we do next? Yeah.
And then what?
It feels good though.
It does. It feels good. It's intelligence, right? Okay. It is the resource to rely on when it comes to trying to figure out what we want to do with our life, trying to figure out how we want to show up, what relationships we want to be in and not be in, what job we want to go. All the things. It's that intelligence that informs us. This is the resource. We get, including myself, caught up in the external validation. Parents, generations past, social media, whatever the thing is, it's all out here. This is the power of the intelligence that we have to really take us into life authentically. So it really circles back to, how do I feel comfortable? I feel really comfortable in my skin. I feel comfortable showing up, how I show up. It's just kind of like, this is just me. Now, it wasn't always like that. Through dance and discovering the power of gesture and incorporating that into my life, I'm like, I understand who I am, what I want to say, and I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And it's like, I want everyone to return home to their body. Yeah. So that's what it does. It brings you home to that intelligence, to that primal resource. You know, our ancestors survived and thrived on instinct. They didn't have they didn't have books, and they survived on instinct. It's primal. It is the most natural thing, but society teaches us something very different. Logical, mathematical, external, all of it.
Yeah.
So that's what the power of gesture does. It brings us home to remember.
Nice. So after we do this practice, what would be a way that we, like, I'm trying to gain is like, how does the gesture lead to life improvement? Like, I get sensory, I get feeling, I get freedom.
Yeah.
Just curious.
Then it's action.
Okay.
It's really about, the journaling is very important.
Okay.
Right? So you feel, you do all the things, visualize, you do the embodiment. Okay, I now have this understanding.
Yeah.
I am truly feeling unhappy in this situation. Okay. My truth is that I'm unhappy in this situation. I'm going to write that down, and then I'm going to go deeper. Like, what is it? Then I'm going to start to, the thing that happens with the power of gesture is it unlocks that first step. And when we don't put the pressure on ourselves and we allow the process to take place, which is the journaling, and then further in, doing body set on a daily, just for like 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, it will continue to reveal that intelligence, those answers, that direction we're supposed to go in will reveal. So the journaling is really important. And then it's about decisions. Okay, this is my truth. What am I going to do? I'm really happy in this thing, and I want to elevate it even more. I've realized that. I discovered it through the power of gesture. I know this is my truth, and now what? So now it's about creating those actionable steps in the direction we want to go into. Does that answer your question?
It does. No, it does.
Okay.
No, I think it's helpful. The information gets stored in the body.
Yeah.
And so when you start expanding and contraction and feeling, now like that information's being released. It's like you just turn the volume up on your body. And so if you just listen, there's information coming through that you can hear. Yeah. Right? It's not with like a speaker. Right. But with your internal ear. Yeah. Right. And from there, that journaling process is now giving you this awareness of these things that have been stored in the body. This information has been stored in the body. And then there is where you take your aligned action. Exactly. Depending on what comes up.
That's right.
And so, like, just to help our listeners, like, I'll give you an example, because obviously I had an experience with you yesterday to help you extract a lot of this. And one of the things that, for practitioners that I do, and practitioners for me is people who are guiding people through internal work. Right. Okay. And in order to be a successful guide, you have to be a practitioner. Yeah. You have to be doing it for your own healing, for your own growth, for your own comfortability, for your own confidence, for your own ability to communicate. Right. And that is how you actually know how to guide somebody. It's like, if you're going to be a safari guide, you better know the safari. Yeah. Right. And so practitioner, bring me back here. Because I'm going somewhere. Internal guiding. What we had yesterday. Yes, I was going to my experience. So it looks like this. Yeah, so I'm like, in order for me to help you to really understand like what your genius is doing and how we like package this specifically for these different stages, I need you to take me through it. Okay. Yeah. So she took me through a power of gesture exercise, just like she just described. Okay. It was connect with my body. Hands on my body, deep breaths. Okay. Imagination. Imagining when I feel powerful, moments in my life, memories in my life where I feel powerful. Imagining moments when I feel contracted. Okay. So I was connect, then I had to imagine. And then it was like, okay, how does that feel? And it's like, feel it. Just like keep doing those movements and feel it. And then it was like, now if what you're seeing and feeling, if it makes a gesture, make that gesture. And I was like, okay. So I'm like making these, it's funny. If somebody was recording, I probably look so weird. I was just like, no, you look amazing. I was like doing this. It was beautiful. Are you kidding me? Right. And then she's like, okay, cool. And then like brought me out of it. And I'm just like sitting there. And one of the first things I noticed, we debriefed after that, this was the journaling part. Yeah. Was when you had me do it, I think 3 times or maybe more.
Yeah.
The first time I contracted and expanded, it was like, it just felt kind of normal. I did it again and I was like, well, I don't want to contract. And then I was going to do it again. I was like, I really don't want to feel this way. I don't like how this feels.
Yes.
I actually like how this feels. I just want to go here and here and here and stay there. I don't want to like keep going back and forth and back and forth. Yeah. And then it was like, well, Darryll, how much are you going back and forth in your life? Well, audience, how much are you going back and forth in your life? How much are you contracting, expanding? How much are you like, I want to do the thing. No, I don't know if I'm going to do the thing. I want to do the thing. I don't know if I'm going to do the thing. I should have the conversation. I don't know if I'm going to have the conversation. I want to have the conversation. I don't know if I want to ask for the raise. I don't know if I'm asked for it. Like, how many times do we vacillate between decisions because we're not aware that our body is looking to expand and lead us into the expansion, and we're so used to the contraction that we built a home and a safety there. Yeah. And that's kind of what came up for me. Yes. And so I took that and I went, okay, where in my life am I contracting and I feel this energy in my body? And where is it looking to expand? Okay. And so I started just to look, and one of those areas was actually this podcast. And so last night after we did this, I was just like, why do I feel like I'm like contracting and not expanding? What would be an action I can take to expand? Okay. When do I feel constricted? Well, it's when I do my intro. Why? Because I feel like it's not clear on what I want it to be about. When I'm clear, I'll be more expansive. Okay. I always say emotional clarity expands emotional capacity. Okay. So I'm like, all right, okay. So I spend a time getting clear on my intention and who I want to serve and why am I doing this? Why am I putting myself in a sea full of media just to serve 1, 2, 3, 1,000 listeners? And it was because I believe that the way that our world solves its problems is when everyone shares their gift, their light, their genius, their brilliance in the world. But it's hard to read the label when you are inside the bottle. Your gift is not just for everybody else. I believe your gift is for you. And oftentimes we can't even give ourselves our own gifts because we don't even know what it is that makes us us. We know we're good at something. We know we dope. We know people love our energy, but it's so hard to explain our greatness. And if you can't explain it, you can't duplicate it. And so, I got clear on that for this podcast. And then that felt so much more expansive. Wow. And now I feel more expanded in real time. So I walked that through personally for people so they can see a real-time example of how just this gesture can elevate an awareness that unlocks the intelligence that gives you words to take action from.
Let's go. We need to write that down. Wait a sec. I have so much to say. Can I make a couple comments?
Come on.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was so beautifully articulated, first of all. So thank you for sharing that.
Thanks.
Like, I want to cry. Okay. The second thing that I want to say is...
Well, you can't say that on our podcast and not say why.
Why I want to cry?
Why?
Oh, because you just touched my soul. Like, that emotional expression, emotional intelligence, part of it. I said earlier, it's not just knowing your own emotions and being able to manage those. It's being able to feel others and help them move through, elevate in some way, or just hear them.
Yeah.
You said something yesterday, which I love. You said you didn't say you said the best speakers are the best listeners.
Yeah.
And that really stuck with me.
Yeah.
And I got a lot of things that I got to work on, but I'm a good listener. I really, because I love it. That's how I learn. Yeah. I'm a student of life.
Yeah.
That's how I learn, is by listening. So I'm listening to you and I hear you, and like that expression was so beautiful, and I'm deeply connected to it. Does that answer the question as to why I was about to cry?
Somewhat.
It triggered just like, and also it's my work. The work that I've birthed into this world touched you in a very deep way, and you thought about it.
There it is.
And you went home and thought about it, and then it trickled into this podcast, and like you're more expansive, and you are more expansive as a result of the work we did together. And that's my work. That's like my third child. I have two, and this is like my third.
Yeah.
And so it's very emotional. How could it not be?
Right.
The other thing I want to say is, we, including myself, I wouldn't say are afraid, but some people are hesitant to really address the limiting belief or the contraction part of the expression, right? You got the expansion, you got the contraction, whatever that is for people. And a lot of people don't want to face it. But what you just expressed so beautifully is how powerful it is. It informed you. It taught you. It's a voice inside of you that is so intelligent. And it's like, thank you, contraction. Thank you for making me have this heightened awareness so that I could expand even more. Like, how beautiful is that? So I really want to emphasize the power of both parts of ourselves, the expansiveness and the contraction. We have to listen to both so that we can elevate and understand.
You're opening up a can of worms.
I'm opening up a can of worms?
Well, it's like... Oh man, I don't know.
How much time do we have?
I know it's like, but
I think I know where you're
because you're talking about getting used to that part of us, and that's a heavy ask.
It is.
You know what I mean? Like it's not like you're saying like just go brush your teeth. You're saying like get used to a part of ourselves that many people, including me, don't like. Are not the most comfortable. Don't like because I can't associate it to anything good. So I'm not. It doesn't. It doesn't necessarily land. It's not something that I'm like, amen, sister, when you say that, because I'm like, well, hold on, I don't like that part of me.
I understand.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody likes that part. All I'm saying, and I'm not saying get this, do that. What I'm saying is, if we can get to a place where we invite that aspect of ourselves into the conversation, we can learn a lot. And I'm not saying it's easy. That's the hardest part.
Yeah.
I mean, my sessions and my communities are not like, gesture. We're crying. So a lot of times it unlocks those parts of ourselves that we don't want to open up.
Yeah.
I understand. I have them myself.
Yeah.
So I totally get it. I'm just saying it's important. Yeah. And I have worked with those resiliency stories that I told you about. That was the seed, because the people, talking about their loss of children or divorce or, grieving in all the ways, sexual assault. I've held people in the most unbelievable stories. I can't even tell you. I mean, I know, and I feel honored to have done this work. And it's only just beginning, but it's a lot of people. And no one wants to go there.
Right.
But when we do, so much opens up. We really learn a lot about ourselves.
Yeah.
And we learn that we're a lot more powerful and resilient than we think.
Yeah.
And we realize, like, we don't have to be afraid of ourselves in that way.
Beautiful. Man, let's land the plane here and just like quickly like tell people like describe for the listeners like the type of people that come to work with you and what they're facing and like sort of what you do to help people. Yeah. And then let's see how they can get in touch with you.
Yeah. Beautiful. Let's land the plane.
Yeah.
I work with people that have a burning desire a lot of times, like, I gotta do something. Whatever it is, whatever the decision is, whatever the action is. Yeah. And they are held back by either fear or doubt. Yeah. Because wait, she says I can't do it. My mother says I'm not strong enough. Society says that whatever.
Yeah.
So it's the narratives. I'm not good enough. I'm not strong enough. But there is a knowing inside that there needs to be a shift in some way, in one direction or another.
Right.
I help people really understand and help them restore the power within them so that they can take that action confidently, comfortably from their body, confidently in who they are, and communicate, like you said, communicate with the world, whether that be a person, a boss, a family, a child. You say how what you need to say. So I help people restore that confidence. So it's people like that mostly that are like have that kind of like I need, and really just need help, understanding and restoring and gaining the confidence to move forward, to take action.
Ooh, I love that. And if somebody's like, cool, I want you on my stage as a speaker. I want you as a coach in my corner.
Let's go.
I want to be in your community. I know we didn't even get into your Elevate community that you have, which is a great place for people to plug into your world.
Yeah.
Like where do they find you? Where do they connect with you?
Okay. So I'm on Instagram mostly. I love video. And I feel like I can connect with people, and I like watching video, not just being on video. I like watching.
Yeah, me too.
And it's not even that I like being on video. It's just that I feel like people will feel me on video.
I know.
So I like Instagram.
Okay.
So I'm there mostly, and I have a website, jenaks.com, AKS.
Yeah.
And I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn, all the things, but I really live on Instagram for social media. And then the journey typically goes like this. People are not very familiar with the power of gesture, this body set practice, right?
Yeah.
So I offer a 30-minute complimentary class every Tuesday virtually at 11 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
So people can come and experience there.
Oh, that's a good way to do it.
And then after that, it's like, okay, you want to come into my Elevate membership, which is all about elevating where you are. Right?
Yeah.
It's what I just described. It's the type of people that I work with, and let's go.
Oh, nice.
Right?
Yeah,
Beautiful community. We do the power of gesture. We share in gesture. We share in word. It's beautiful and amazing. I do privates with people all the time, and I love working privately because we really get it done.
Of course.
And so that's the journey.
Nice.
They can do either of those things, and it's always a nice start to do that class.
I like that because then they get to try before they buy. They get to see if it.
Try before you buy.
Yeah, try before you buy. Feel it before you swipe it. Like I was trying to find an F and I couldn't. Dang it. Anyways, doing the speaker thing. Nice. 2 more questions.
Feel before you forget it.
2 more rapid fires. You ready?
Okay.
God, three more. One fun one and then a deeper one and then like a heart one. Okay. You ready?
Okay.
I know you know I'm gonna ask. So people are gonna I'm gonna get so judged for what I'm getting ready to say.
Oh.
But I don't know who Sarah Jessica Parker is.
Oh my God. Let's go.
But my wife saw you and she was like, have you ever been asked?
Yeah.
Do you look like Sarah Jessica Parker?
That's
and
funny.
you're like, all the time. Like how do you handle that?
I mean, do we have another hour? Because I got to meet this woman.
Who is she?
Oh, so she's the star of Sex and the City.
Oh, okay.
And she's been, has a lot of success in TV and film. Her husband is Matthew Broderick. I don't know if you know that. Okay, well, he's also a very successful actor, Broadway and film. He was Ferris Bueller.
So do you use?
How young are you?
So do you use it for your advantage? Do you get free flights?
Well, my kids are always like, Mom, because we've been in a lot of
I'd be taking pictures with people.
So
yeah.
Okay, well, first of all, just a couple quick funny things. One, when my kids were really little, I had one in a, what are they called?
A cart, a stroller,
a stroller, and another in a Bjorn. And I was on the West Side, and I'm going down the thing, and literally the paparazzi was following me. I mean, my kids are now 20 and 18, and I still get it. I mean, I've gotten it my whole life. Her husband thought I was her. I was in the West. Yes, and he knows because I met him.
Do you look that much like this lady?
Yes.
Is she in her 50s?
I think so.
Oh wow.
Yeah. He was riding his bike.
Do you have a twin that you don't know about?
I need to meet her.
Wow.
So I was just real quick. I was at this place called Tartine. I know. Yeah. Tartine, and he was riding on his bike, and he went by, and then he did a Yui, and he came over to me to my face, and I was like, and he thought I was her. But then I met him years later, which was 5 years ago, and he's like, "Can I curse on this podcast?"
Go for it.
He goes, "Holy shit, you do look like my wife."
Are you serious?
Situation with Mr. Big. You don't know who that is, because whatever. The list goes on and on.
That's crazy. Okay,
so that's that.
All right. So one day you and Sarah Jessica Parker are going to do something together. It's going to be hilarious, doppelganger
I need
stuff.
to just give her a hug and then also tell her about
who knows?
I
might disappear or something. Who knows what's going to happen? Holy crap.
I could be her stand-in.
You could.
Yes.
There you go. A little side hustle. Okay. What does seeding greatness mean to you?
Seeding greatness. When hear the word seed, right? I'm thinking like ground in. So seeding greatness really speaks to my work, which is coming home to the body and leading your life from the inside out.
Nice. Last question, super deep.
Oh shit.
Okay.
Oh God.
If these are the last words that you'll ever give, what would you say?
Thank you. Gratitude. I'm grateful. I'm so grateful. I haven't always been soulfully, deeply connected to gratitude in this way. I am so grateful for my children, for my life, for my soul, for everything around me, the energy, the emotion, all of it. So I'm grateful.
Beautiful, man. You heard it from Jen Aks, AKS herself, man. The power of gesture to unlock the human intelligence that's innately in our body. She gave you a very powerful exercise that you can begin to try. You know, we love information, but we know that exposure without execution equals frustration. And so you've been exposed to a story. You've been exposed to information. Now it's time for you to execute. In order to do that, just take action. Set a date on your calendar. Pull over the car. Set a note. Send a note to your assistant. Hey, hey Siri, put a 5 to 15 minute reminder on my calendar to do the power of gesture exercise. Reach out to Jen. Go to her free class. Try before you buy. See what that experience. See what it's like to be in the presence of a master. And of course, man, if you're just looking for community, if you want to be around a network of people who are movers, who are shakers, who are changing the world with how they show up in their workplaces, in their businesses, join our community, the Seeding Greatness Collective. We meet once a week and we bring in my network of people. We help develop you. We coach you. We hot seat. We collaborate. You find clients. You find connections. You find friends. You might find your man, your husband, your wife. Who knows?
Let's go.
Anyways, come on in there. And by the way, I am known to matchmake. So this is, probably one of the best place to find conscious relationships. So now it's going to blow up, right? Anyways, come join us wherever you're at. Just email us the word collective and we'll get you connected. All right. I'm Darryll and this is the Seeding Greatness Podcast where we help share the gift of you with the world.